China just let artificial intelligence take complete control of its financial system. And what happened next didn't just shock economists and tech experts around the world, it rewrote the rules of what's possible when machines decide who gets money and who doesn't. Right now, as you listen to this, over 1.5 billion people are living inside the world's first AI-governed financial network. 1.5 billion people. That's more than the entire population of Europe and North America combined. You heard that right. And what this system can do, what it's already doing, is something most people outside China don't fully understand yet. But they should, because the results are both breathtaking and terrifying. Let me show you how deep this really goes. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and checking your phone to buy a plane ticket. You tap through the booking app, select your seat, enter your payment information, and then you see it. A message that makes your stomach drop. Transaction denied. You are not eligible for this purchase. Not because your card was declined, not because of insufficient funds, but because an artificial intelligence system analyzed your life and decided you don't deserve to fly. This isn't a dystopian movie pitch. This is Tuesday morning for millions of people in China. But to understand how we got here, you need to go back to 2015, back when China had a problem that seemed impossible to solve. They had nearly 1.5 billion people. Hundreds of millions of them had zero credit history. No bank records, no loan applications, nothing. In rural villages across the country, farmers and small business owners couldn't prove they were trustworthy borrowers because the traditional system had no data on them. Meanwhile, in the cities, banks were drowning in paperwork. A simple loan application could take 3 to 4 weeks. Human loan officers reviewing documents, checking references, making subjective judgments based on gut feelings and outdated metrics. The whole system was slow, inefficient, and completely unprepared for what China was becoming, because something else was happening at the same time, something that would change everything. By 2016, over 80% of Chinese citizens were making digital payments through their phones, not credit cards, not cash, phone apps. Alipay and WeChat Pay had become the financial bloodstream of the entire nation. Every coffee purchase, every grocery run, every taxi ride, all of it flowing through trackable, analyzable digital channels. And then someone asked a dangerous question. What if we could see all of it? What if an AI could watch every transaction, every payment, every financial decision that 1 billion people make and use that to predict who's trustworthy and who isn't? The Chinese government and tech giants looked at each other and realized they had everything they needed. The infrastructure was already built. The data was already flowing. All they needed to do was connect the dots. So they did. In 2015, Ant Group, the financial arm of Alibaba, launched something called Sesame Credit. The government launched its own parallel experiments in social credit scoring, and together, they began building an artificial intelligence system that wouldn't just track your finances. It would track your entire life. The AI would know what you buy, where you go, who you talk to, what you post online, how you spend your time, and it would give you a score, a number between 350 and 950 that would determine what you're allowed to do with your money. Banks loved it, the government loved it, tech companies loved it, because the promise was irresistible. Instant loans, perfect risk assessment, zero fraud, total financial inclusion. By 2020, the system was fully operational. Over 1 billion users, billions of transactions per day. All of it feeding into machine learning algorithms that were getting smarter by the second. China had done it. They'd built the world's first AI-controlled financial nervous system. But what nobody talked about yet was the other side of the coin, the part that would shock the world. Because this AI doesn't just help people, it punishes them too. And you're about to see exactly how. Here's what most people don't understand about this system. It's not watching your credit card bills and bank statements. It's watching you, every single thing you do. The AI gives you a score. 350 is the bottom, 950 is the top, and that number recalculates constantly, sometimes multiple times in a single day. You could wake up with a score of 780 and go to bed with 765 because of what you bought for lunch. The algorithm analyzes 5 core categories of your life. Your credit history, that's the normal stuff. Loan payments, bills, whether you pay on time. Your fulfillment capacity, your assets, your income. But here's the twist. The AI verifies this by watching your transaction patterns instead of trusting documents you submit. Your personal characteristics. How stable is your phone number? How often you move addresses? Whether your information stays consistent? Then it gets invasive. Your behavior and preferences. What you buy, when you buy it, where you buy it. Do you purchase diapers and groceries? Responsibility signal. Score goes up. Do you spend money on video games at 2 in the morning? Irresponsibility signal. Score goes down. The AI is literally judging your shopping cart. And finally, this is where it gets truly disturbing, your interpersonal relationships. Who you're connected to digitally, who you message, who you transfer money to. Because in this system, your friends' scores affect your score. Let that sink in for a second. You can lose points because someone you know made bad financial decisions. But where does all this data come from? Every Alipay transaction you make, every WeChat Pay transfer, your utility bills, your rent payments, your phone bills, your online shopping behavior on Taobao and JD.com. The AI is watching what you browse, what you buy, what you return. It goes further. Your social media activity gets analyzed. What you post, what you share, who you argue with online. Government records flow in automatically tax filings, legal judgments, traffic violations. Facial recognition systems at ATMs and bank branches confirm your identity and track your physical banking behavior. Location data from your smartphone tells the AI where you go and when. The system doesn't just see your financial life, it sees your entire life, and it's making judgments about all of it. Now, here's where the AI shows its real power. Pattern recognition. The algorithms can detect things no human analyst ever could. They notice that people who buy groceries at consistent intervals tend to repay loans. They spot that late-night spending correlates with impulse control problems. They identify that people who maintain stable friend groups are lower credit risks. Buying diapers? The AI assumes you have family responsibilities. Score bump. Excessive purchases from gaming platforms? The AI flags you as potentially frivolous. Score drops. Regular charitable donations to government-approved causes? Major boost. Posting complaints about local officials? You don't want to know what happens to your score. But it's not just about finance anymore. The surveillance has metastasized into every corner of life. The AI maps your social connections like a spider web. Every person you're linked to digitally, every transaction between you and your friends. And it assigns risk based on association. If you're connected to people with low scores, you become a risk factor too. If your network is full of high-scoring, stable citizens, you get a boost. The AI is literally judging you by the company you keep. Your digital behavior gets monitored around the clock. Time spent on productive apps versus unproductive ones. Educational content versus entertainment. The AI is measuring how you spend your attention. Social media posts are scanned for what the system calls stability indicators. Online arguments get flagged. Sharing the wrong kind of content triggers consequences that show up in your financial access. And then there's the physical world integration. This is where it gets genuinely creepy. You jaywalk across a street. An AI-powered camera catches your face. Your score drops. You get a traffic violation. It's automatically reported and reflected in your financial score within hours. A court judgment against you, even from a minor dispute, shows up instantly. Even charitable donations get tracked and rewarded, but only to approved organizations. This creates a feedback loop that's almost impossible to escape. Every action you take creates data. Every piece of data adjusts your score. Your score determines your financial access. Limited access forces you to change your behavior. Your changed behavior creates new data, and the cycle never stops. The AI is always watching, always calculating, always judging. Now let's talk about speed, because this is where the system reveals just how far beyond human capability it's gone. A traditional bank loan in most countries takes 2 to 4 weeks for approval. Paperwork, background checks, committee reviews. In China's AI system, you get a decision in 3 seconds. 3 seconds for loans up to $75,000. The system processes millions of loan applications every single day. Fraud detection happens in real time. Suspicious transactions get blocked before they even complete. The scale of this operation is almost incomprehensible. The AI monitors over 1,400,000,000 people simultaneously. It processes billions of transactions daily. It cross-references data from hundreds of different sources: banking systems, government databases, social media platforms, e-commerce sites, payment processors, and it updates scores continuously, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. No human could oversee even a tiny fraction of this. No team of humans, no building full of analysts. This is machine intelligence operating at a level that makes human financial oversight look like counting on your fingers. And then China launched something that made the whole system even more powerful: the digital yuan. China's central bank digital currency went nationwide, which means every single yuan in circulation can now be tracked by the AI. Cash transactions have virtually disappeared in major cities. The paper money that used to provide a tiny sliver of privacy is gone. The AI sees literally everything now. Every transaction, every transfer, every purchase, every payment. Nothing escapes the algorithm. But here's what nobody prepared for. What happens when you give an AI this much power, this much data, and this much control over people's lives? The consequences were always going to be extreme, and they went in two very different directions. Let me tell you about two different versions of reality. Two people living in the same country, under the same system, but experiencing completely opposite worlds. And the only difference between them is a number calculated by an algorithm. First, meet someone with a score of 850. Let's call them the golden citizen. They have a steady job. They buy groceries every week at the same time. They pay their utilities the day the bill arrives. They're connected to other high-scoring professionals on WeChat. They share government news articles. They make small donations to approved charities. They never jaywalk. They never complain online. They never do anything the AI might interpret as unstable or risky. And their life is absolutely frictionless. They wake up one morning and decide they want to buy an apartment. They open their banking app and request a loan for 750,000 yuan. That's about $110,000. 3 seconds later, the approval comes through. Preferential interest rate, no documents required, no human ever looked at their application. The AI saw their entire life, analyzed 8 years of perfect behavior, and said yes. They book a hotel for a business trip. No deposit required. The AI trusts them. They rent a car. No security holds on their credit card. They apply for a visa to travel abroad. Fast-tracked approval. They join a premium dating app. Their high score is displayed like a badge of honor. They get better insurance rates, priority customer service, access to exclusive services. Their world is one of constant green lights. Every door opens. Every request gets approved. Every system bends in their favor. This is what happens when the AI loves you. And for millions of people, this system has been life-changing in ways the rest of the world doesn't want to admit. Small business owners who never could have gotten loans from traditional banks can now access working capital in minutes. The AI doesn't care that they don't have collateral or a long credit history. It watches their daily transaction flows, sees consistent revenue, recognizes patterns of responsibility, and approves funding. Rural farmers who were completely invisible to the old financial system suddenly have access to credit for the first time in their lives. The AI sees their seasonal income patterns, their community standing through social connections, their utility payment consistency, and it gives them opportunities they never had before. The efficiency is undeniable. Default rates have dropped significantly. Financial inclusion has reached levels most countries only dream about. From a purely technical standpoint, the system works. It works incredibly well for the people the AI decides to help. But then there's the other reality, the one nobody wants to talk about, the one that reveals what this system really is underneath all the efficiency and innovation. Let me show you what happens when your score drops below the threshold. Imagine someone with a score of 550. Maybe they missed a utility payment during a family emergency. Maybe they got into an argument online that the AI flagged as unstable behavior. Maybe they bought something the algorithm categorized as frivolous. Maybe. And this is the terrifying part. They don't even know what they did wrong. They apply for a loan. Auto-rejected, not even reviewed, just an instant no from the machine. They try to get a credit card. Denied. They try to increase their existing credit limit. Denied. They apply to rent a nicer apartment. The landlord checks their score and says, no thank you. They try to enroll their child in a private school. The school checks the parent's social credit score as part of the admission process. Rejected. Their kid doesn't get in because of a number of an algorithm assigned to the parents. But it gets worse. Much worse. In China, there's something called the restricted lists. These are government-maintained databases of people whose scores have fallen so low that they're banned from certain activities entirely. And we're not talking about a few thousand people. We're talking about millions of Chinese citizens who wake up every day in a cage built by an algorithm. They're banned from buying plane tickets, just completely locked out. They can't fly domestically. They can't fly internationally. The AI has decided they're not trustworthy enough to board an aircraft. They're prohibited from riding the high-speed rail, one of China's main transportation networks. They can't purchase luxury goods above a certain price point. They're restricted from booking rooms at certain hotels. Some job opportunities are closed to them entirely because employers check scores before hiring. Now imagine this scene. You're at the airport. You're traveling for business, or maybe to see family. You've saved up for this trip. You arrive 2 hours early like you're supposed to. You get to the ticket counter. You hand over your ID, and the agent looks at their screen and tells you you're on the restricted list. You can't fly. You ask why. They don't know. The system just says no. You ask when this happened. They can't tell you. There was no warning, no notification, no letter in the mail. The AI downgraded your score at some point, maybe yesterday, maybe last month, and you're only finding out now at the airport, after you've already missed the chance to make other plans. You miss your flight. You miss your business meeting. You miss your opportunity. And there's no appeals process, no human to talk to, no way to argue your case. The algorithm has spoken. This is the invisible prison that millions of people are living in right now. And here's what happens to your behavior when you know the AI is always watching. You stop buying things that might be interpreted as irresponsible. You curate your friend list, removing anyone whose score might drag yours down. You stop posting anything even remotely controversial online. You pay every bill obsessively, even minor ones, the second they arrive. You donate to government-approved charities, not because you care, but because you need the points. You share official news articles you don't even read. You become exactly what the algorithm wants you to be, because the alternative is suffocation. But here's the most insidious part of the whole system: the opacity. You don't actually know what affects your score. The algorithms are proprietary secrets, trade secrets, government secrets. You can see your number, but you can't see the equation that produced it. Your score can drop mysteriously. You wake up and it's 20 points lower and you have no idea why. Was it something you bought? Something you said? Someone you're connected to? You'll never know for sure. You just have to guess. And change your behavior, and hope the AI notices. Recovery from a bad score takes months, sometimes years. One mistake, one late payment during a crisis, one argument with the wrong person, one purchase the AI didn't like can haunt you indefinitely. The machine never forgets. Every black mark stays in the system. Every red flag remains visible to the algorithm. People have reported that even moving to a different city doesn't reset your score. You can't escape it geographically. Parent scores affect their children's opportunities, not just school admissions, but their future financial access too. Getting divorced gets flagged as instability and can tank your score. Being a petitioner, a citizen with a grievance against the government, gets you systematically downgraded. The AI doesn't have a statute of limitations. It remembers everything, forever. And slowly, people are starting to realize what this really is. It's not just a financial system anymore. It's not even just a credit score. It's a tool for control, and it's more effective than any system humans ever built. So let's be clear about what China actually built here, because the world keeps calling this a credit system or a financial innovation, and that's not what this is, not even close. This is the first time in human history that a machine has been given complete authority over the financial lives of over 1 billion people. The first time an artificial intelligence has been allowed to judge not just your ability to repay a loan, but your worthiness as a human being, your social connections, your political opinions, your entertainment choices, your midnight snack purchases. And here's what shocked the world. Not that China tried this, but that it actually worked. From a technical standpoint, this system is a staggering achievement. The AI processes more data in 1 second than a human analyst could review in a lifetime. It spots fraud patterns that would slip past any traditional banking system. It makes lending decisions with accuracy rates that human loan officers can't match. It brought financial services to hundreds of millions of people who were completely excluded before. The efficiency is real. The results are measurable. The technology is genuinely impressive. And that's exactly what makes it so terrifying. Because what China proved is that total surveillance can be incredibly efficient, that artificial intelligence can govern human behavior better than laws or police or social pressure ever could, that people will willingly modify everything about their lives, what they buy, who they talk to, what they say, where they go, if you just attach financial consequences to a score. The AI doesn't need to threaten you. It doesn't need to arrest you. It doesn't need to censor you directly. It just needs to make your score drop. And you'll censor yourself. You'll police your own behavior. You'll become your own warden. That's the genius of it. The system makes you complicit in your own control. And the web keeps growing. They're adding health data now. Your medical records. Your exercise habits tracked through apps. Whether you smoke. Whether you drink. Employment history gets integrated more deeply. Education data flows in, what schools you attended, your children's test scores. The data keeps accumulating. The AI keeps learning. And resistance becomes harder every single day. Because here's what happens when you try to opt out. You can't. Most places in major cities don't accept cash anymore. You can't refuse to use WeChat. It's how you communicate, how you pay, how you exist in modern Chinese society. The infrastructure is already built. The surveillance is already total. You're in the system whether you like it or not. Now here's where this story stops being about China and starts being about everyone. Other governments are watching this experiment very closely. They're looking at China's system and thinking, we could have that kind of control, that kind of efficiency, that kind of power. But it's not just authoritarian governments. Tech companies around the world are building similar systems right now. They're not as comprehensive yet, not as deeply integrated with government power. But the principles are identical. Monitor behavior, assign scores, grant or deny access based on algorithmic judgments. Your credit score already tracks your financial behavior, but companies are experimenting with scores for everything else. Insurance companies are pricing policies based on your web browsing history. Employers are screening candidates based on their social media analysis. Banks are using your phone usage, your streaming habits, your online purchase history to make lending decisions. The difference between what's happening in the West and what happened in China is one of degree, not of kind. The technology exists everywhere. It's a question of how far we let it go. And China just showed the world exactly how far it can go. Your smartphone tracks your location constantly. Your apps monitor your behavior. Your smart devices listen in your home. Your purchases are logged. Your communications are stored. Your face is scanned by cameras everywhere you go. Tech companies already know more about you than you know about yourself. The infrastructure for total surveillance already exists in every developed country on Earth. The only question is who gets to control it and what they're allowed to do with it. China answered that question. They gave control to an AI, and they let it do everything. So here's the real shock. They've created a blueprint, a proof of concept, a demonstration that comprehensive AI-powered surveillance and control is not only possible, it's efficient. It's scalable, it's sustainable, and now that blueprint exists for anyone who wants to use it. Every government on Earth that wants more control over its citizens, just watch China show them how. Every corporation that wants to maximize profit through behavioral manipulation just got a masterclass. Every authoritarian leader who dreams of perfect social compliance just saw it demonstrated on a population of over 1 billion people. The Chinese AI doesn't just control financial access anymore. It shapes society. It molds behavior. It defines what's acceptable through a system of invisible rewards and punishments. You behave correctly, as defined by the algorithm, and doors open. You step out of line and they slam shut. No trial, no human judgment, just code, executing instructions based on patterns in data. And people adapt. They become what the system wants them to be. Not through force, not through violence, but through the elegant simplicity of behave or lose access to modern life. That's what shocked the world. China let artificial intelligence take over its financial system, and the result wasn't chaos. It wasn't system failure. The result was perfect control. A system where over 1 billion people police themselves because a machine is watching, where financial access has become the lever that moves every aspect of human behavior, where privacy is extinct, where the algorithm sees everything, remembers everything, and judges everything. And it works. Terrifyingly, efficiently, undeniably, it works. That's the real shock. Not that they built it, but that it succeeded. And now the blueprint exists for the entire world to see. China let the machine take over, and the machine won.